Right now, 7 authorities are investigating a tragic East Texas house fire that took the lives of 2 young brothers and what they're saying could serve as a warning to other families. Plus, a former Uvalde officer's trial continues today, but this time with new witness testimony and explosive details under the spotlight. We have the latest coming up. And protests erupt overnight in Portland after a shooting involving Border Patrol agents. Authorities confirm 2 people were injured. We have the latest coming up.
We are tracking the chance for some strong to severe thunderstorms across parts of the area. I got all the details on what you need to know coming up in your forecast. So stay right there because Morning Y'all on CBS 19 Plus starts right now.
Together, we're putting East Texas first. You're watching Morning Y'all on CBS 19 Plus.
Community members in Portland held a vigil after a man and a woman were shot by federal agents during a traffic stop. Officials say the driver allegedly tried to run over agents, prompting an officer to open fire. Portland's mayor is demanding a halt to federal immigration operations until an independent investigation is complete. We'll have much more on that here in a couple of moments. In the meantime, good morning, y'all. Thanks so much for staying with us here on CBS 19 Plus. I'm Jesus Martinez. So glad you're with us today. The other top story, that is the weather. Weather impact alert day for today, Joel, because of thunderstorms we could see later today. That is correct. Yeah, we do have the chance to maybe even see a couple of stronger storms that could be reaching severe limits. That's going to include 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, up to an inch diameter hail, and 1 to 2 tornadoes are also going to be possible with some storms alongside some very heavy rainfall, which could fuel a little bit of a flash flooding threat as well. So as we take a look at our severe weather outlook issued by the Storm Prediction Center, the best chance is going to be from Marshall all the way down to Palestine and areas further to the southeast. Jefferson, Longview, Tyler, Athens, you're in that green area. You're not technically out of the woods, but the better chance is going to be further to the south of you. And we are tracking the stationary boundary this morning, which is the boundary between cool and warm air, and it's basically just kind of locked in place. We have some warmer temperatures off to the south near 70 and then 50s and near 40 further to the north. And once this kind of moves further to the north and also collides with this cold front, we'll see the chance for those storms to begin to develop into the early parts of this afternoon. Roberts Cam, a little bit foggy out there. Dew points in the 40s to the north, 60s to near 70 to the south. The 60s and 70s are where the storms are going to be most likely developing. Low 70s for temperatures into this afternoon, and then we are going to be all set with the rain chances through the weekend and into next week. We'll take a look at that 7-day forecast coming up. All right, Joel, thanks so much. The Texas Rangers are investigating after an Anderson County jail inmate died inside the jail. The man's name has not been released yet, but we do know he was 32 years old and lived in Palestine. The sheriff's office says just after 3 Thursday morning, a detention officer and a nurse found the inmate inside a single occupancy cell with a ligature around his neck. They removed it immediately and called for EMS. Palestine Regional Medical Center paramedics responded and pronounced him dead. An autopsy has been ordered, and the inmate was being held on a parole revocation warrant and several pending felony warrants as well. Meanwhile, an East Texas woman is behind bars after a violent incident at a Marshall hospital. Police say Kashendalan Carr tried to grab an officer's weapon Monday at Christus Medical Center while being stopped from leaving. At the time, authorities were investigating her in Jefferson for a possible kidnapping. Carr was arrested on a charge of assaulting a public servant, and police say the investigation is ongoing. This morning, the FBI is also investigating another federal agent-involved shooting, this time in Portland, Oregon. The Department of Homeland Security says 2 people were shot while attempting to flee agents. Police say a man and a woman are now being treated in a hospital for their wounds. That shooting came only 1 day after an ICE agent shot and killed a woman in Minneapolis. CBS's Gwen Baumgardner has more from Portland.
Community members gathered for a vigil in Portland after a man and woman were shot there by federal agents.
The patients were transported to local hospital, and their conditions at this time are unknown.
On social media, the Department of Homeland Security said the shooting happened Thursday during a traffic stop, targeting a vehicle whose driver and passenger have alleged ties to a notorious Venezuelan gang. DHS says the driver weaponized the vehicle and tried to run over agents, and that the officer who fired the gun feared for his life. The FBI's Portland office says it is, quote, investigating an assault on federal officers.
We know what the federal government says happened here. There was a time when we could take them at their word. That time is long past.
The city's mayor, Keith Wilson, is demanding a halt to federal immigration operations in Portland until a full and independent investigation is complete.
Our community deserves answers. Our community deserves accountability.
Protesters gathered outside of an ICE facility in Portland overnight.
We must remain united in peaceful opposition to efforts to tear our community apart.
State and local officials are urging community members to stay calm, especially in the wake of the fatal shooting of a woman in Minneapolis earlier this week by an ICE agent. Gwen Baumgardner, CBS News, Portland.
Last week, President Trump said he was pulling National Guard troops from Portland, Los Angeles, and Chicago after a federal court ruled against him. But earlier this week, he warned on Portland, quote, "We'll go back in when the crime starts." Closer to home, we're learning more about the house fire in Wascom that killed two young brothers and injured their father. The Harrison County Fire Marshal, that is, says the fire was caused by a heat lamp on the porch. Investigators say the lamp was being used to keep animals warm. The animals may have actually bumped that lamp, causing a fire on the exterior or outside the home that then spread inside. Isaac and Hector Pedraza were killed in the fire. In the wake of the tragedy, Wascom ISD delayed the start of the semester, giving students and staff and families time to attend their funerals and to grieve the loss of the two boys. Fire officials are reminding families to use extreme caution with heating devices, especially as we head into some colder weather.
If you're out there, if you're running anything heat, electrical, just be cautious of how you secure it. Keep it away from combustible items. Don't take shortcuts. Check on everything as your heating elements. Check your cords and make sure they're not heating up. And just hug your loved ones tight so you never know when's the last time it's going to be.
Fire Marshal James McConnell says no charges will be filed, calling the incident a tragic accident. 7:06 now. A jury will hear more witness testimony today in the trial of former Uvalde CISD police officer Adrian Gonzalez after an emotional day in court yesterday. Testimony is renewing focus on the release of the 911 calls, video of the gunman entering the school, and whether Adrian Gonzalez tried to stop the shooter at Robb Elementary. Amanda Henderson has been following the case and has been at that trial since it started earlier this week and joins us with the latest updates.
Today, we are expecting to hear more witness testimony right inside the Nueces County Courthouse starting at 9 a.m. So far, we've heard from survivors who describe the terrifying moments of having to hide from the gunman, as well as those who were hit by shrapnel and injured, and even those who had to make harrowing 911 calls. And yesterday, we wrapped up with the jury listening to two fourth-grade Robb Elementary teachers explaining how they fought to keep their students safe as the gunman was at the school. And we've seen photos of where the bullets struck the windows after they went flying all throughout Robb and shell casings outside the perimeter of the elementary school. Now, the prosecution and the defense are speaking with witnesses to try and argue their case of whether former Uvalde CISD police officer Adrian Gonzalez had seen where the gunman entered the building, or even if he had seen him before he had entered the building. Gonzalez currently faces 29 criminal charges tied to his response for the Robb Elementary mass shooting that killed 21 in May 2022. Again, things are set to get underway here in just a few hours, and we will bring you the very latest. In Nueces County, I'm Amanda Henderson. Back to you.
All right, Amanda, thank you. And we are providing gavel-to-gavel trial coverage on CBS19+. Throughout this entire trial, reporters from across Texas and a panel of legal experts will walk us through the evidence presented in this case. We'll also be offering analysis you won't find anywhere else. You can download CBS19+ right now for free on your smart TV. 7:08 now, time now for your morning headlines. Luigi Mangione is expected back in federal court today, fighting to block prosecutors from seeking the death penalty in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The defense argues intense public publicity, that is, including public comments by Attorney General Pam Bondi, prejudiced the case before Mangione was even indicted. Prosecutors say the charges are solid and any jury concerns could be handled during the jury selection process. The judge may also decide whether evidence seized during Mangione's arrest can be used and is expected to set a trial date. Mangione has pleaded not guilty and could still face life in prison. Iranian authorities have cut off internet and phone service across much of the country as anti-government protests intensify. Sources in Tehran tell CBS News security forces are using tear gas to disperse large crowds. The nationwide internet blackout comes as demonstrations enter their 12th day now, with dozens killed and thousands of others detained. NASA says for the first time ever, they are ending a mission on the International Space Station early. This is an update to a story we first brought you yesterday. One of the astronauts on board the space station developed a medical issue, forcing them to scrub yesterday's spacewalk. And because of privacy rules, NASA has not identified the astronaut or the medical concern, but describes the astronaut as being stable. The crew is expected to be back on Earth in the coming days. And meanwhile, the IRS says it will start accepting tax filings on January 26th. Taxpayers could see a bigger tax refund this year due to major changes from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. According to analysis from a financial firm, refund checks could jump from an additional $1,000. Taxpayers have until April 15th to file their taxes, though you can still file for an extension that goes through October 15th. 7:10 across Texas now. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has reached an agreement with the makers of Crest toothpaste over their marketing. Last May, Paxton sued Procter & Gamble over deceptive marketing, claiming the company misled parents to use more toothpaste than the recommended amount for children. Now P&G must have packaging that accurately shows the correct amount of fluoride toothpaste for kids for the next 5 years. The company says it's already started rolling out the new marketing. Well, it's been 2 years now since the Sandman Hotel exploded in Fort Worth. A natural gas leak shook downtown, and neighbors described feeling an earthquake-like boom. 21 people were hurt in that blast, but thankfully no one was killed. The hotel remains closed as of right now, but as Richard Solomon reports, change could soon be coming.
Breaking news out of Fort Worth. There is an emergency situation at the Sandman Hotel.
It was a day the city of Fort Worth soon won't forget.
Shock and awe, man. It was tough.
January 8th, 2024. An explosion that injured 21 people and shut down businesses for months.
I've never seen so many people in hard hats and fire people and police.
And even now, the blast still feels close.
It was destructive. It looked like a war zone. I still say that.
Tim Ballard and Lisa Jackson stand just feet away from the hotel, which is closed off to the public. Their businesses sit right across the street, front row seats to the chaos that day.
My first thought was, is everyone okay? No one died. Thank God.
But still, 2 years later, there are questions to what actually caused it. Investigators believe gas played a role, but Atmos has said its pipelines were not involved. Because of the many injuries, more than half a dozen lawsuits were filed in the days after the blast.
When something shocks you like that, then all you can do is row.
Attorney-hired investigators are still working the case. We did hear back from Northland Communications, the group representing the hotel. They tell WFAA they had planned to reopen by the end of last year, but due to delays, they're now anticipating a reopening this summer. For businesses here, January 8th is frozen in time.
You know, it's been an adjustment.
Yeah.
That certainly has.
And while the street slowly comes back to life, the memory of what happened is still very much here.
What we can do is come to work and continue to make people happy.
In Fort Worth, I'm Richard Solomon.
All right, make sure to stay connected with what's happening across the Lone Star State with Texas News Now. It's your daily statewide newscast with the top headlines, stories that matter, and weather from every corner of the state. You can catch Texas News Now streaming weekdays at 11 a.m. or anytime on demand on CBS19 Plus, which, by the way, you can download for free on your smart TV. All right, after a long week, weekends are all about slowing down and recharging. Some folks hit the trails, others just curl up with a good book or catch up with friends and family. So we want to know, how do you relax on the weekend? I've been looking forward to the weekend for all this week.
Yeah, no, I will do anything from just doing nothing all the way up to maybe walk a little bit. I'll just also, as far as doing nothing, maybe the only something I'll probably do is just like be on my phone or
doom scroll.
Yeah, doom scroll, or just binge watch YouTube.
I feel whenever I first started this morning shift, weekends were to do nothing. but then it felt like I was wasting my weekends. I was like, I want to do something fun for my weekends because it's just like work, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I still have to figure something fun to do.
Right. It just depends on the weekend. Like sometimes, you know,
there's a lot happening with festivals sometimes, or sometimes
Right.
there's nothing going on
Or
at all.
yeah, take me over to Six Flags.
Right.
I'll have a good time. That would be, you know,
We gotta
somewhat
take you,
relaxing.
I know, we're going to take you all
it's
over.
a thrill,
We're going
right?
to take you to Six Flags, the State Fair, Houston Rodeo. We're going to take you everywhere.
Now, I have been to the East Texas State Fair, but not the State Fair of Texas.
See, that's
so I got to check
whole
that one off the
different
list.
beast.
That's I can't really. It's probably not comparable.
No, a whole different beast. I guess for me, relaxing-wise, a good bath is nice. Have you tried Epsom salt?
I'm not.
It's good. Apparently relaxes your muscles.
Okay.
Tried it, but
cool.
I don't see a difference with it. Other people say it works on them.
Yeah, I usually take a bath when I'm sick. I'm more of a shower guy.
Shower guy?
Yeah.
It's good relaxing, maybe a good book, but then again, that's like work. But I'm still on that New Year's resolutions. I gotta read a book once a month. One book in. I'm started the second book already. So
awesome.
We'll see how that goes. Anyways, time to check on that traffic for you guys out there.
Yeah.
Quite busy out there so far for this Friday?
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's just we're going to be watching for some fog. That might impact you just a little bit. It's not too much of an impact on I-20 at this time. So we still got 2 hours over to Dallas, an hour and 30 minutes over to Shreveport. So again, pretty standard numbers there. Very quiet on US 69 as well. 2.5 hours up to Denison, hour and 30 minutes down south towards Lufkin. May want to give yourself just some slightly extra time as you head southbound towards Lufkin, but otherwise not looking too bad if you're heading northbound on US 69. Here's where it starts to become a little bit impacted. 55 minutes from Jacksonville to Nacogdoches, 50 minutes from Tyler to Longview, up to an hour for Tyler to Palestine, and 50 minutes from Tyler to Athens. Here's a look at visibilities. Down to 0 for Henderson, Carthage, Crockett, less than a quarter for Palestine. Very low visibilities. We have half a mile in Tyler. That's going to continue to stick around for the rest of this morning. And then we'll replace that with some rain showers and thunderstorms that could be pretty intense at times. We're going to go over all the details coming up in your full forecast, but we do have yellow lights for this morning. I am giving you that for the fog, and then yellow lights for the storms into this afternoon, so make sure to plan accordingly.
All right, Joel, thanks so much. Coaching changes, record-breaking athletes, and big college moves. Sports is on fire today, and we've got all the sports action coming up in your latest update. 7:16 this morning. We'll be right back.
It's time for CBS 19 Sports. Well, hello and welcome to Sports. I'm Jimmy Searfoss. We're glad you're with us. Well, there it is. Buy a ticket, folks. The coaching carousel has been kicked into overdrive these last few days, and a few coaching giants from East Texas are on the move. Let's start in high school. Remember Jack Alvarez? He used to coach down in Marshall just for a few years. Then he took him to the area round and then retired. Well, that's no longer the case here. He will be coming out of retirement to coach and be the athletic director down in Center, Texas. Alvarez is no stranger to the game. He's been to several schools and even won a state championship with Ennis in 2014. He'll be the third coach in 3 years for Center, who's always stuck in that district with Carthage. Hey, the guy who led the TJC Apache to their most successful string of seasons of all time has announced his next stop. Tanner Jacobson will be heading to Weber State to become an associate head coach, special teams coordinator, and linebackers coach. Jacobson led the Apache to back-to-back regular season championships in 2024 and 2025. Then this last year, a Southwest Junior College Football Conference championship. Weber State is a Division I FCS program, and Jacobson is a major part of that coaching overhaul because they just got a new head coach in Eric Kujar.
CBS19 Sports Player of the Week, sponsored by East Texas Professional Credit Union.
Hey, you know who coaches love? Elizabeth Corbett. Notice how I said coaches, that's plural. Against Carthage on Tuesday, she had a team-high 14 points, but her success goes way further back than that. There are two main sports played on this gym floor, and Elizabeth Corbett dominates both of them.
I could go up and block a ball, I guess.
Earlier this year, Corbett was an all-state first-team hitter for Spring Hill. Setting a school record with 559 kills, she led the Panthers team to an unbeaten district season and a state semifinal appearance. Now she's the centerpiece of another unbeaten Spring Hill team in district, who's on track to being just as good as that volleyball team.
We have a really good chance of getting district champs, and then I feel like we can make it far in playoffs. I feel like we can be very successful.
Because on the volleyball end, she's used to deep playoff runs. In hoops, well, they're just putting it all together in time for her last season.
I mean, I feel like it's weird. It went by fast, but I'm glad that we're having a successful year this year to kind of end it all off. But I just want to finish strong. Because there's only one way Corbett can finish the basketball season better than volleyball, and that's with a state champion. I think it'd mean a lot, just going out with a bang for both volleyball and basketball, so I think it'd be really fun.
A big news out of the transfer portal. Former Longview Lobo and top-rated running back Taylor Tatum has committed to the Big Blue as his next home. Tatum was the 10th ranked back out of the portal and comes to Michigan after a season where he really didn't play much after suffering for some injuries throughout his time in 2025 at Oklahoma. He'll be battling for a starting spot as the Wolverines' leading rusher Jordan Marshall announced he will be returning to Michigan in 2026. And hey, these two just added a major accolade as they decide where they want to spend their next 4 years after high school. Tyler High's Kadarius McMillan and Palestine's Savorian Martin have been selected for the Navy All-American Bowl. McMillan will play on the East team, Martin on the West. This is a big-time event that goes down yearly in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome, featuring some of the best talent in the nation. This one will go down on January 10th at 1 p.m. The Mavericks were active last night against the Jazz, riding a 2-game win streak. This one went down to the wire. Anthony Davis and Cooper Flagg picked up double-doubles in this one, with Flagg leading the pack with 26 points. Just wasn't enough, though. Mavericks made a late push in the closing minutes, but couldn't quite get it done. They dropped this one 116 to 114. Hey, something, though. Klay Thompson, this was his 900th career game. That's all I got for you. Morning, y'all.
From the underdogs to the rising stars.
We're kicking off a mission to help every dog and cat get their shot at a forever home.
Help us score a win for animals in our community.
Sponsored by Pelche Subaru.
All right, we're about to step away for a quick moment while we do our over-the-air broadcast with a quick news update. We'll be back here on CBS 19 Plus. Good morning, y'all. I'm Jesus Martinez. Thank you so much for joining us for this news update. The Texas Rangers are investigating after an Anderson County jail inmate died inside the jail. The man's name has not been released, but we do know he was 32 years old and lived in Palestine. The sheriff's office says just after 3 Thursday morning, a detention officer and a nurse found the inmate inside a single occupancy cell with a ligature around his neck. They removed it quickly and called EMS. Palestine Regional Medical Center paramedics responded and pronounced him dead, that is. An autopsy has been ordered. The inmate was being held on a parole revocation warrant and several pending felony charges. An East Texas woman is behind bars after a violent incident at a Marshall hospital. Police say Kashandalyn Carr tried to grab an officer's weapon Monday at Christus Medical Center while being stopped from leaving. At the time, authorities were investigating her in Jefferson for a possible kidnapping. Carr was arrested on a charge of assaulting a public servant, and police say the investigation is ongoing. We're learning more about the house fire in Wascom that killed 2 young brothers and injured their father. Harrison County Fire Marshal says the fire was caused by a heat lamp on the porch. Investigators say the lamp was being used to keep animals warm, and the animals may have bumped it, causing a fire on the outside of the house, which then spread inside. Isaac and Hector Pedraza were killed in that fire. In the wake of the tragedy, Wascom ISD delayed the start of the semester, giving students, staff, and families time to attend their funeral and grieve the loss of the boys. Fire officials are reminding families to use extreme caution with heating devices, especially as we head into some colder days.
If you're out there, if you're running anything heat, electrical, just be cautious of how you secure it. Keep it away from combustible items. Don't take shortcuts. Check on everything as your heating elements. Check your cords and make sure they're not heating up. And just hug your loved ones tight, so you never know when's the last time it's going to be.
Fire Marshal James McConnell says no charges will be filed, calling the incident a tragic accident. Well, let's check on in with meteorologist Joel Robinson. Weather impact alert day for some thunderstorms, Joel.
That is correct. We are going to be watching for the chance for maybe a couple of strong to severe thunderstorms between the 12 p.m. and 10 p.m. time frame across the area. The 2 main threats that we're watching for with these thunderstorms are going to be damaging winds and large hail, also some heavy rainfall, and maybe a tornado or two, although that's a very low-end risk. So definitely make sure to download that CBS19 app and have a plan of action and a shelter nearby should severe weather cross your path. So here's the latest look at future skycasts as we move into this afternoon. Early afternoon, we are expecting storms to begin to develop across the southwestern parts of the area, and then they will continue to move through the area and remain along and south of I-20. That's going to be the best places to see those severe thunderstorms into this afternoon. And again, that's going to go until the 10 p.m. time frame. So after all of that, we are going to be cooling down quite a bit into the 50s, and then we'll slowly rebound into the 60s by the middle of next week.
Welcome back to Morning All here on CBS 19 Plus. This is what's coming up in our second half hour. Anger is boiling over in Minnesota after a fatal shooting involving a federal ICE agent. Coming up, The latest developments and reactions from officials. Plus, a family in East Texas has been desperate to find their missing dog for more than a month now. Many questions are still unanswered. We'll share those details coming up.
And you'll certainly want to make sure you are staying weather aware into this afternoon, as we do have the chance for some strong to severe thunderstorms. We'll take a look at that full forecast coming up this half hour.
Together, we're putting East Texas first. You're watching Morning York on CBS 19 Plus.
7:31 this morning. Good morning, y'all. I'm Jesus Martinez. Thanks so much for being with us here on CBS 19 Plus. Glad you're with us. Well, the FBI has taken over control of the investigation into the shooting death of 37-year-old Renee Good at the hands of a federal ICE agent in Minnesota. State officials say they've been shut out of the ongoing probe in Minneapolis, and the incident is sparking protests and calls to action nationwide. CBS's Jared Hill has more.
ICE out now! In freezing rain, hundreds marched through Minneapolis criticizing the surge in ICE agents.
People are still waking up and kind of like responding to the horror of what happened yesterday.
The Twin Cities a powder keg as anger has boiled over in response to the shooting death of 37-year-old Renee Good at the hands of an ICE agent on Wednesday.
It feels very, very difficult that we will get a fair outcome.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz raised concerns Thursday as the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension says they were informed by the FBI that state prosecutors would no longer have access to the investigation, which started as a joint probe. Vice President J.D. Vance.
The unprecedented thing is the idea that a local official can actually prosecute a federal official with absolute immunity.
CBS News has confirmed the agent who shot Renee Good is Jonathan Ross. He's worked with ICE in Minnesota for nearly a decade. During an ICE operation last summer in nearby Bloomington, video shows Ross being dragged by a suspect during an attempted arrest.
33 stitches in his leg, so you think maybe he's a little bit sensitive about somebody ramming him with an automobile.
The Trump administration and President Trump have maintained the agent acted in self-defense.
I found it, to be honest, the department's official statement and the secretary's statements were really irresponsible.
John Sandwick, former acting director of ICE, raised concerns about maintaining public confidence. Despite the calls to leave, DHS says ICE agents will continue their operation in Minnesota. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz declared today a day of unity for Renee Good, calling on everyone to observe a moment of silence at 10 a.m. to honor her memory. Meanwhile, protests are growing across the country, and here in East Texas, some are joining in. This is the scene at Tyler Burkeville Park yesterday, organized by the Smith County Young Democrats to demand accountability following the shooting death of a woman by an ICE agent in Minneapolis. Organizers said the demonstration highlights concerns over federal immigration enforcement tactics and what they call an unjust killing.
This was murder, plain and simple, cold-blooded murder. And for anyone who wants to say, well, she should have obeyed a lawful order, not obeying a lawful order is not a death sentence.
The group is planning another protest today starting at 1 p.m. at Burkeville Park. A man wanted for a deadly 2012 shooting in Longview has finally been captured. According to our paper partners at the Longview News Journal, Jose Olivares has been extradited from Mexico to face charges in that shooting of 38-year-old Francisco Roque. Investigators say Roque was shot in his own yard after an argument with Olivares, who fled the scene and left his vehicle in Harrison County. Court records show Roque's son witnessed the shooting and reported that Olivares pointed a gun and fired twice. Olivares is now in custody in the Smith County Jail and facing criminal charges more than a decade later. Meanwhile, a Smith County judge has rejected a plea deal in a case involving a former Tyler ISD substitute teacher accused of assaulting a student with special needs. 29-year-old Joaquim Castro Lacoyo pleaded guilty to injury to a disabled child, but the judge declined to accept an agreement that would have placed him on probation for 8 years. According to investigators, the incident happened at Moore Middle School, where he's accused of throwing the student on the floor and restraining the student for several minutes. For now, the possibility of a trial remains open, though no court date has been set. 7:35 now. An East Texas family is searching for answers after their dog has been on the loose for over a month. They say professional trackers believe the dog is alive, but access to private land is standing in the way of bringing her home. CBS 19's Rafa de la Garza has that story.
Signs spread across the neighborhood of Deer Point Cove, a reminder of what's missing from Lori Smith and her family.
Randomly break down, want her home.
She says their 6-year-old pup Kimber and her older sister Remington went missing while the family was away in Canton.
And when the neighbor called to try to get them up, they took off running.
35 days later, Remington is back home, but Kimber is still missing. Since then, her family hasn't stopped searching.
Yeah, and then we went and walked pastures all around here, and then I hired another tracker out of Burleson. She came out, and we've tracked her down to a property.
She says thermal drones later picked up signs they believe point to Kimber on private land just over a mile from home. But she claims recovery has been met with roadblocks.
So even if we see her, we're still not going to have the proof she's there. And so if they still tell us, no, you're not allowed on the property, we still can't go in and get her.
Property owners have denied access to the area. Now animal advocate Desiree Stokes with Positive Place Rescue is asking for help from the owner.
And help us reach him. Help us say to him that we just want to bring Kimber home.
If you take a look over my shoulder, this is the property that Lonnie Smith claims Kimber is. We reached a homeowner, knocked on his door, but he was not willing to go on camera. He says that he gave Lonnie 3 weeks to look for Kimber, and he personally looked for himself and that she's not here. He hopes and prays that she finds her dog, but it could be a liability if somebody hurts himself while searching. Desiree Stokes says that that's his right to deny them access, but it's unfortunate that he's using that right in this way. They're encouraging others to share Kimber's face and keep her story alive, asking for help but not boots on the ground.
People are scary to her. That's fear because she is in fight or flight mode.
Now, a mother's hope still burns, believing Kimber is close.
I do. I really feel in my heart that she's there, and I really feel like she's coming home.
Until then, the porch light stays on and they keep looking to the window, hoping tonight will be the night Kimber returns. For CBS 19, I'm Robert De La Garza.
All right, 7:38 now. Preparations are underway for this Sunday's Golden Globes Awards show. Gwen Baumgardner gives us a behind-the-scenes look at Hollywood's biggest party.
Golden Globes host Nikki Glazer helped roll out the red carpet in LA Thursday ahead of Sunday's award show.
The Golden Globes are the party of the year because everybody is here. The drinks are flowing. You're mingling.
Glenn Weiss is the executive producer and director of the Globes, which honors the best in movies, television, and new this year, podcasts.
We're here to capture all of it so that you are a part of a party. You're not just watching an award show.
Leading the film nominations with 9 is the Leonardo DiCaprio action satire, One Battle After Another.
I need to find my daughter.
While on the TV side, HBO's The White Lotus leads with 6.
There's a whole team dedicated to arranging seating for the Globes, though we're told some of these placements could change ahead of Sunday. But one thing organizers wanted to stress to us is that they do not place people based on who they think will win.
We do not know the results. The accounting firm is the only people, and you could be wrong more than half the time. But more importantly, we really want to lay it out appropriately so that everybody is equal.
Jeremy Allen White, Jacob Elordi, and Amanda Seyfried all scored acting nominations in both the TV and film categories, which critics say is becoming more common.
There are no lines anymore, and so honestly, isn't that surprising if people are double dipping when the material is worthy of them?
Seyfried is also slated to present, as are fellow nominees Julia Roberts and George Clooney. Gwen Baumgardner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, well, check this out. Astronomers have a new theory about a mysterious unknown astronomical object known as Cloud 9. Scientists say Cloud 9 appears to be a starless cloud dominated by dark matter. Now, dark matter is believed to be made up of 85% of total matter in the universe and can be detected due to its gravitational effects. Astronomers say that this discovery could lead to a better understanding of dark matter and how galaxies are formed and how the universe was formed. That's a whole lot of science for me this morning.
No, even for me too. Yeah, no, that's really
Space always interested me as a kid. As a kid, you have all these jobs you want to do, whether that's being a doctor, whatever. I wanted to be an astronaut. Just for the sole matter to go to space and come back. Didn't know there was so much science behind it. I thought it was just a fun job you got to do.
Yeah, no,
There's a lot more to it.
I remember being fascinated with model rockets.
Right.
And even I had the app that shows you where the stars are and the satellites. I find that pretty cool.
That was pretty. I took an not astronomy. What's it? Not astronomy. Astronomy is
astrology.
Yes, astronomy. Astrology is the science. Astronomy is the science of the stars.
I was going to say.
Astronomy class in high school, it was pretty cool. It was one of my favorite classes in high school, but alas, No astronauts for me today.
No.
All right, well, new research suggests some super smart dogs can learn new words just by overhearing conversations. According to a study published in the Journal of Science, owners of 10 gifted dogs introduced 2 new toys to their pets, repeatedly saying the toy names. Researchers found 7 of the 10 dogs were able to identify and retrieve the new toys by simply overhearing their owners talk about it. This is true, by the way. The dogs can pick up the new words by monitoring the speaker's gaze, picking up on communicative cues, and extracting keywords from sentences. Among the gifted dogs in the study are Border Collies, German Shepherds, and a Labrador Retriever, Australian Shepherds, and a Blue Heeler. Now, I think this is true because I say this because my friend has a dog, River. Every time we say, go get the baby, it's the pet. Or not the pet, the toy.
The toy,
that we called baby. So every time it's like, go get baby, go get baby. It's
the sound. Yeah, I can see that too.
Now, I fear for whenever my friend and her boyfriend have a baby, that whenever they say baby, hopefully the dog doesn't confuse the toy with the actual baby. So
oh goodness,
that'll be a thing for the future, but who knows?
Yeah, hopefully it just goes to the toy, not the baby. Right.
Oh, good old dogs. They're smart, smarter than we think.
They are.
All right, sports fans, check this out. The Jacksonville Jaguars are set up to face the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs this Sunday, and one superstitious fan is hoping his spooky yard decor keeps the magic alive. This homeowner, he put a skeleton in his front window before Halloween, right as the Jaguars' win streak began. He named it Skelequin. Get it? Skeleton, but Skelewin, Quinn. Oh, there we go. Even dressed it up as the old Jaguars jersey. Altman says as long as the team keeps winning, the skeleton stays up. Holiday hats and all. Hey, if it works, it works.
If it works, it works.
Not judging for that.
I've seen a lot. I mean, I've seen a lot of people keep their skeletons up. I feel like that's just been a common trend to just keep those giants, even up in Michigan.
Right.
We had somebody in the community that I was living in had their skeleton up. It was huge.
How far out since Halloween?
Oh gosh, like year round.
That's crazy.
Like year round, yeah. Like you get dressed up in all different kinds of stuff.
That's okay. We keep up our Christmas lights year round.
Yeah.
It beats the hassle of putting them up and taking them down, so can't be judging.
Fair. That's fair.
All right, something cool's happening over in our Tyler Broadway cam. If we can pop it up real quick, or right behind us. We're just talking about this. If you want to talk about it real quick, Joel.
Yeah, so we have this stationary front, which is a boundary between warm air and cold air. And basically neither of them are dominating over the other, but the boundary between warm and cold air is right overhead Tyler right now. And it's a little bit harder to see at this point, but you could kind of see there was like a little bit of clearing in the clouds. If you take a look at maybe around the left-hand side of the screen, you can kind of see that clearing, but that is a result of that stationary front there. And then if you look into the distance, the moisture from the south end of the stationary front is kind of moving further to the south, and that's where the fog is going this morning. So it's kind of cool. Then we are going to be watching for that stationary front to eventually collide with a cold front this afternoon. And that is where the chance for severe weather will be coming into the forecast. So 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts with the strongest storms, 1-inch diameter hail, and 1 to 2 tornadoes are all going to be a possibility on top of some heavy rainfall, which could lead to flash flooding. The best chance for that is going to range from Marshall down to Palestine and areas further to the south in this yellow shaded area. And then you got this green shaded area, which means an isolated risk for severe thunderstorms. So you're not quite out of the woods for those of us in this green shaded area, but the better chance is going to be further to the south. There's that stationary boundary. So look at the temperature difference. 58 in Tyler, 64 in Jacksonville, and 63 in Henderson. That is that dividing line between that cooler air up to the north and the warmer air further to the south. And eventually this stationary boundary is going to be moving further to the north as a warm front and will be colliding with this cold front into this afternoon. And that is where the chance for some thunderstorms will be coming into the forecast that could be pretty strong to severe. Another look at our Roberts cam. Very gloomy out there. Some fog reported in some parts of the area. The dew points, the measure of moisture, is starting to decrease in some parts of the area. A lot of that moisture will be over into our southernmost counties, which is where the highest chance of severe weather is going to be for this afternoon. We need that moisture in order to get those severe thunderstorms to develop in thunderstorms alone. Upper 60s for this afternoon and low 70s for some of us. 57 for the high on Saturday, 59 on Sunday, and we are going to be clearing out for the remainder of the week. We'll take a more detailed look at the severe weather chances coming up in your full forecast.
All right, Joel, thanks so much. Still ahead this morning, animal shelters across East Texas are stretched thin, facing an overwhelming number of unwanted dogs and cats. Experts say one of the biggest reasons is that pets were never spayed or neutered. This morning, I take you behind the scenes at the SPCA of East Texas, showing how they're working to slow down that pet overpopulation. We'll be right back. All right, 7:47. Welcome back. Animal shelters across East Texas are stretched thin, facing an overwhelming number of unwanted dogs and cats. And experts say one of the biggest reasons is pets that were never spayed or neutered. This morning, I take you behind the scenes at the SPCA of East Texas, showing how they are working to slow pet overpopulation. Behind these closed doors, it's a routine day for veterinarians, but one that has a ripple effect across the entire community.
Say hi, Dora.
Across East Texas, shelters have been flooded with unwanted litters and stray animals, many of them the result of pets that were never spayed or neutered. Emily Hegland, executive director of the SPCA of East Texas, says overpopulation is a tremendous issue.
We, as a nonprofit animal rescue, are getting dozens and dozens of calls every day for help with unwanted litters and strays in the Smith County area.
With shelters at or near capacity, some animals wait weeks, months, even years for a home. At the SPCA of East Texas, staff are working to slow that cycle through its low-cost spay-neuter clinic.
And then we put a ligature or a suture on that.
Also known as the Snippet Clinic.
We're a low-cost, high-volume, high-quality spay-neuter clinic, and I think we've done, probably over 40,000 surgeries in the last, 11 years.
That's roughly 30 surgeries a day, and with the process designed to be easy on pets and owners. Just drop off in the morning, staff take care of the rest.
These stitches are buried into the skin so you can't see them.
And pick up in the afternoon, all helping reduce the number of animals that end up in overcrowded shelters.
I would say that spaying and neutering is critical to a pet's overall, lifetime happiness and success. Have the peace of mind in knowing that your animal is fixed and you're never going to have to worry about having unwanted puppies or kittens.
The demand is growing. Clinic appointments fill up weeks in advance, proof that the need is still urgent.
And it just continues to be that way.
Some pet owners hesitate to spay or neuter because of common misconceptions or that the procedure will change their pet's personality.
We get some comments occasionally from people about, well, I want my female to have one litter. I want them to experience that. That's just not something that female dogs or female cats necessarily need in their life.
She says spaying and neutering can also reduce health risks, helping pets live longer, healthier lives. And for many in East Texas, this kind of care and access can be the difference between a pet having a home or ending up in a shelter. Well, for more details on how to make an appointment, pricing, and requirements, you can visit our website, CBS19.tv. And we'll be sharing stories all month long that spotlight the important work of the SPCA of East Texas. Just scan the QR code on the right-hand side of your screen, and every donation will go right back to the nonprofit. And this year, a generous donor is matching up donations of up to $25,000, helping your support go even further this year. So just go ahead and grab your pom-poms, cheer on our MVPs, and help us paw it forward.
All right, everybody, it is time to get into your forecast. We do have a weather impact alert for you this morning and into this afternoon for the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms that'll have the best chance to develop from Marshall, Henderson, Jacksonville, Palestine, and further to the south, with a marginal risk including areas like Athens, Tyler, Longview, and Jefferson. That's a lower end risk, but you're not out of the woods. Luckily, there is a little bit of a downward trend with the storm energy, and I do think it's as a result of the fog this morning. If we can get enough surface heating to get a little bit more energy, then we'll have a little bit more widespread severe thunderstorms. But at this point, the energy seems to be going in the downward direction into this afternoon. So that is some good news there. Still could maybe expect maybe a few thunderstorms, but the severe weather threat likely will be maybe even more isolated than we were anticipating earlier. Tornado parameters basically 0 at this point. Not expecting tornadoes into this afternoon. And as far as future skycast goes, the latest data just came in during this stream this morning. So we are still going to be expecting maybe a few storms to roll through, but notice how spotty that they are as we head into this afternoon and evening. And so we're going to really watch, especially with these individual storms here. Should we get enough, a little bit of wind shear, that we do have a little bit of a chance for maybe a spin up or two. But again, it's not really going to be too much of an issue besides maybe some gusty winds and maybe a few hailstones and of course those heavy torrential rains from some of these as well. So rainfall potential shaping up like this. Up to about ½ an inch to an inch of rain is going to be possible at this point with the amount of coverage. The fog really having an impact on our forecast at this point. We'll of course keep you updated throughout the rest of this morning. Drought conditions, we are still in it. We definitely do need the rainfall, moderate to severe drought at this point. And a lot of the rain is expected to be in this general vicinity here in deep East Texas, where the most rain is definitely going to be required. But because that the surface is so dry, the rain might have a little bit of trouble making it down into the ground. So as a result, maybe a few areas of flash flooding, certainly not out of the question. 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. is that now tentative time frame. We'll adjust that as needed into the rest of this morning. Wind and hail still going to be the main threats at this point. You definitely want to make sure you're keeping up with the latest updates on the CBS19 app, and of course have a plan of action, have a shelter nearby should you have any severe weather cross your path. So your overall 7-day forecast, once this is out of the way, it's a much quieter forecast from there. Temperatures also cooling into the middle 50s, and then we'll see those temperatures climb into the low to mid 60s by the time we hit the midweek.
All good information. All right, thanks so much, Joel. We're about to step away for a quick moment while we do our over-the-air broadcast with a quick news update. We'll be right back here on CBS 19+. Good morning, y'all. I'm Jesus Martinez. Thank you so much for joining us for this news update. A man wanted for a deadly 2012 shooting in Longview has finally been captured. According to our paper partners at the Longview News Journal, Jose Olivares has been extradited from Mexico to face charges in that shooting death of 38-year-old Francisco Roque. Investigators say Roque was shot in his own yard after an argument with Olivares, who fled the scene and left his vehicle in Harrison County. Court records showed Roque's son witnessed the shooting, reporting that Olivares pointed a gun and fired twice. Olivares is now in custody at the Smith County Jail, facing criminal charges more than a decade later. The Smith County judge has rejected a plea deal in a case involving a former Tyler ISD substitute teacher accused of assaulting a student with special needs. 29-year-old Joaquim Castro Lacoyo pleaded guilty to injuring a disabled child, but the judge declined to accept an agreement that would have placed him on probation for 8 years. According to investigators, the incident happened at Moore Middle School, where he's accused of throwing the child to the floor and restraining them for several minutes. For now, the possibility of a trial remains open, but no court date has been set yet. Well, the red kettles may be packed away for the season, but the impact is still being felt across Tyler. The Salvation Army announced its 2025 Red Kettle campaign raised more than $500,000, surpassing its fundraising goal. Leaders say that the support fuels the organization's ability to help families all year long, providing meals, shelter, clothing assistance, and emergency services when people need it the most. Captain Robert Corson says the success sends a powerful message about how the East Texas community still helps when others struggle.
They don't see the individual struggling, but they see everybody going on with their day-to-day lives. But this is proof that, no, they do care. We do care for our neighbors. We lift each other up. And if anything, that just shows that there's still love in this world. There's still hope in this world.
Captain Corson says that there's still plenty of ways to give back throughout the year, whether through donations or volunteering, helping ensure support is there when families need it the most. All right, let's get checking that forecast now with Joel. We could be seeing some strong to severe thunderstorms today, Joel.
Yeah, that is right. We are going to continue to watch that very closely. Up to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts are going to be possible with some storms, up to an inch diameter hail with the strongest storms as well. And 1 to 2 tornadoes could be a possibility, although that is kind of on the downward trend. You'll want to stay with us here at CBS 19 for the latest weather information as we go forward here. But latest information on future skycast shows maybe a few spotty showers and thunderstorms moving through by the early afternoon. Some could be strong to severe, mainly along and south of I-20. That's going to be your best shot for any sort of severe thunderstorms. Heavy rainfall, certainly not out of the question either into this afternoon, but we are watching kind of a downward trend at this time. So again, you'll want to make sure to keep tabs on us here at CBS 19. So again, we're going to be watching for a little bit of a cool down because that is all ahead of a cold front. So temperatures by the end of this week and into this weekend will drop down into the 50s and then slowly go back into the 60s.
8:01 this morning, news before you head out the door. We're learning more about the house fire in Wascom that killed 2 young brothers and injured their father. Investigators say a heat lamp on the porch used to keep animals warm may have been knocked over and sparking the blaze. Isaac and Hector Pedraza lost their lives. In the wake of that, Wascom ISD delayed the start of the semester so families and staff could grieve. No charges will be filed, with the fire being called a tragic accident. Authorities say federal agents shot and wounded 2 people in Portland, Oregon. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security says the U.S. Border Patrol agents were conducting a targeted vehicle stop involving suspected Venezuelan gang members. The agency says when agents identified themselves, the driver attempted to run over the officers. That agency says an agent then fired a defensive shot as the driver and passenger tried to flee the scene. I was going to check on that forecast now with Joel. Weather impact alert day today.
That is right. And you know what? We do have some foggy spots this morning as well. So that may have a little bit of an impact on what we see this afternoon. But at the time, for the time being, we have Marshall, Henderson, Jacksonville, Palestine, and areas further to the south still within that 2 out of 5 risk from the Storm Prediction Center. And the latest look at future skycast shows those storms moving in around the early afternoon hours. Here's a snapshot of around 2 o'clock. It'll start to develop into some of our southwestern parts of the area like Palestine and Crockett, and will continue to move to the northeast through the afternoon. And we could potentially see a little bit of a second round into the later parts of this evening and potentially into the early overnight hours. So it's going to be a pretty long day, but there will be a lot of dry time in between should this data set hold up through today. Then behind that, got a cool front as we head into this weekend. A much cooler pattern, and we'll actually be rebounding back into the low 60s for the middle of next week, but we should be also pretty rain-free in the process.
All right, Joel, thanks so much. And thank you so much for starting your day with us here on Morning Y'all on CBS 19 Plus. Make sure to catch the noon show coming up later today. Keep it here for the latest news and weather throughout the day. Hey, don't forget, we are providing gavel-to-gavel coverage on the Uvalde shooting trial on CBS 19 Plus. That starts at about 9 a.m. this morning, about an hour from now. Don't forget, we'll also have a team of Texas reporters and a panel of experts that will walk us through the evidence presented in this case, analysis you won't find anywhere else. It's exclusively here on CBS 19 Plus. We'll see you back here on Monday. Have a great morning.